Hey everybody, I am Meg from Loven Stamps and you are watching Micro Mornings with Meg, and I am very happy to be back with you guys today. I have a super cool project to share with you, because it uses the super cool stamp set. And a couple of reasons I wanted to show this. First of all, I think it's darling. It was one of my favorites right away when I saw it in the book. Second of all, it has a sleeper designer series paper that coordinates. I know, you're like, wait, what? Oh, did I miss that? The Delightfully Eclectic paper, which is the giant like double pack with all the extra patterns and sort of eclectic pieces and so forth, has a variety of images included that coordinate with the sort of the random single standalone stamp sets and so forth that are included in the catalog. There's our pretzel paper that we're going to use today. Some other ones that you might recognize. There's one that has a typewriter characters. Where is it? Typewriter characters. Did I pass it? Did you guys see it? That coordinate with just my type. There it is. So all kinds of fun things there. So it's kind of a sleeper paper because it doesn't like jump out as part of a suite. And then the third reason that I wanted to show this set is on Thursday, it's 24-hour stamp sale. So 15% off the stamp sets in the annual catalog. So not host sets, they're excluded. It doesn't apply to bundles. It doesn't apply to online exclusives. It's annual catalog sale. And so Super Cool is one of those. So you're gonna wanna add them. Link is in the video description. If you go ahead and start shopping now, make sure you log in and you'll be able to get the sale prices on Thursday. So. All right, with that, you ready to see some cards? Good morning. Hello, Trish. It's good to see you. Let's get stamping because this is actually a really fun card. Uses a fabulous technique, floating strip, which I've showed you before. In the past, I've showed you this floating strip card with the Fiesta tacos. This was episode 348 of Maker Mornings with Meg. If you were wanting to look that one up. It's a really kind of a fun floating strip technique. So let's go ahead and apply it to today's project. I'm going to switch our camera over and I am going to let my poor neglected dog outside because she is just so excited. We have a beautiful sunny day here and it's not too hot yet. So I don't know about where you guys are. But here in central Illinois, we're enjoying a not too hot morning. So, all right, let's go ahead. My camera also had some I used it for some other things we were gone. So there's a little chance that it's going to be drooping as we go. So, hi, Debbie. All right. So you're going to grab your scraps for this technique and you are going to grab a piece of window sheet. And the window sheets come in 12 by 12. They are a really nice high quality item. And I realized that I need to cut a piece really quickly. So let me get this here. I'm cutting my window sheet to 3 1/4 inch by 3. And you want it to be relatively square, not square shaped, but square edgewise. Sometimes window sheets have a tendency to get chopped like at an angle because they tend to slide while you're cutting them. So just kind of keep an eye on them to make sure that the corners are, actually 90-degree angles. All right, so we are going to use some strips, but I wanted to show you if you're thinking like, oh, my strips are much larger than that, Meg. I don't really usually have that size. I wanted to include a little reminder that the paper trimmer, the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer is hands down the best for this kind of thing. So it does really small work really well. So I can go ahead and push this on here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to set this right on the cutting line and I'm going to use these lines here on the left and right to line up this 1/2 inch strip of paper because I want 1/4 inches. And I'm going to put this down and just hold the little plastic bit here. So if you have your hand on the plastic, this little sheet of cardstock doesn't slide and you can really easily cut yourself 1/4 inch or, you can cut even smaller slivers if you want, but 1/4 inch should be good enough for our purposes at the moment. But you can see that cardstock is going to get held in place and it makes it really easy to cut those tiny pieces. So a really great paper to have. Now, we are making ourselves a great focal point for this card, but we're going to need to attach these to our sheet here. And this is another trick to have on hand when you're working on this. I really like working on grid paper because you can see if your elements are lined up, you can keep your lines straight. It just makes it a lot simpler. The other thing you might consider is using the silicone craft sheet. Hey Bonnie, hey Debbie. The silicone craft mat will keep your things from sticking to the paper too much, which is another bonus. And you can, I can, you guys mostly can see through it, which means you have the ability to still use the lines on the grid paper and then also have that non-stick kind of ability. Hey, you can see the reflection of my camera. All right, so let's lay our papers out. I like to go ahead and lay them out so I have an idea of how things are gonna fit together so that I have my color strips ready, and then it just means that I'm gonna have a more closer to what I expect kind of result at the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lay these out. They're a little further apart than they're going to be on our paper, but I know I have to get them closer than this to get them all to fit here on our window sheet. To attach these, I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue, which I store like this in a little beverage glass, a little shot glass. This is the best way to store it because it means the glue is always at the tip when you're ready to use it. The other thing I do, if you're a person who's like, oh my gosh, Meg, I'm never using that glue again, it gets everywhere. A lot of times the biggest problem people have with this is getting the glue out when they squeeze it. And I 99% of the time look and they're storing it like this when they set it down. Like, oh, I'm gonna go this. Okay, now I'm gonna use it again. Well, when you've set it down like this so that this is on the table, all the glue is running to the wrong end of the tube. So when you turn it over, the glue is all up here. There's nothing at the bottom. So you're squishing, 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 and then all of a sudden, bloop, and blah, it all comes out. So there, you like my talking with my hands, blah. So what I say is never set it on this end. Always set it this way. You could get away with setting it down this way. But if you watch my videos without even thinking, I always tap every time I go to use this glue because that taps the glue down into the bottom. So I know it's going to come out predictably. Watch, it won't, when I run it across here. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and glue these. I don't have to get all the way across, but I do have to get 3 inches across, which conveniently is like available to me as a measurement on my grid paper. So we're gonna go ahead and glue these. And if I overrun my glue, it's okay. If I actually don't get it all the way across, that's probably not a big deal on this card. On the version that I did in 348 where we cut this circle out, you have to make sure you glue all the way to the ends because you have to get those little dots to stay glued. All right, see, I set my glue down. All right, so I'm gonna flip this over now. I've got my silicone craft mat and my sheet ready, and I am going to start adhering my strips. So like I said, I'm gonna put them pretty close together. You could always, if you aren't sure how close they're gonna come out at the end, you could always make your window sheet a little longer than you expect it and then just trim to get to the end, but we'll see what happens. It's kind of like risky business here, trying to make sure we get the right amount on here. But as I go, I'm kind of double checking to just keep things mostly square. If they're not perfect, it's handmade, right? It's not a big deal, but I wanna keep them mostly square. The other thing that's nice about using multi-purpose glue on this, way better than trying to use like a double stick adhesive like Stampin Seal, is that the glue gives you just a little bit of wiggle room. It stays wet just a little bit longer, so you can go back and you can nudge things a tiny bit. When you work with window sheets and like a Stampin Seal kind of adhesive, as soon as that adhesive touches the window sheet, it is stuck. It is like instant grab. And for something like this where you just might have to nudge a little bit, I just find the glue so much easier. You'll notice that I am not running my finger across here each time. I'm just setting it down. and maybe tapping a little. The reason for that is if you run your finger across here, the window sheet's not porous, and so the glue is going to splurge out at the end of that little finger run. So don't run your finger across because you are going to kind of make a gluey mess, and you don't want the glue to come out between the lines. All right, now that last one, if you saw, I actually was over the edge. Let me see if I can pick this up here. You have some leeway here on your back last strip. So, you know, take advantage of that. If it doesn't end right at the window sheet, no one's gonna know. All right, you can see the white glue that's still showing here. That means this isn't quite dry yet. And so definitely, I definitely want to let this sit for a bit to dry. So I have one over here, ta-da, which is dry, and you can see that glue is gonna turn clear when it dries. And oh, Bonnie says this glue is not her friend. I promise that this is, sorry, one second. Oh, okay. Sorry, Ben, there we go. Okay, sorry, people putting weird comments in there. Okay, so anyway, you wanna make sure that you don't squish this glue out the end. So when it's dry, then we're gonna go ahead and take our paper snips and go ahead and pop this across here. So I'm just gonna cut from the back side because I can see what I'm doing really easily and get nice and close. And I'm just gonna trim away those extra edges. And so now we have this really fun strip paper that we can use on our card. Now, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, Meg, those colors, they're so pretty. What colors are those? That is a good question. So we have Calypso Coral, we have Blushing Bride, we have Crushed Curry, Old Olive is the next color, and then Night of Navy here is the last one. Now, where do these fabulous colors come from? They come from my favorite place to get color inspiration, and that is Designer Series paper. So the back side of this paper here has our same colors, and so you can easily see where these came from, okay? So a really pretty way to use these. Hey, Patty. Hey, Patricia. And, okay, so we're going to use a piece of the front of this. And when I cut this paper for our card layer, what I did was I went ahead and cut a 4-inch strip so that I have a 4-inch wide piece. And ta-da, then I cut it here so that it's 5 1/4 inches, which means you end up with a strip left at the top. And that piece is perfect to cut in half for 2 cards. So I have 2 cards with this extra little bit of strip left over. So a really efficient way to use your Designer Series paper. And I'm gonna bring in a basic white card base. Now, you'll see that this is pre-scored. That is because this is the thick white cardstock, thick basic white. When I use this as a card base, I always prefer the thick cardstock over the regular basic white cardstock. And when I use thick basic white, I always score it so that we get a really nice crisp fold there at the end. You guys know, if you've been watching my videos, sometimes I'm a little about scoring on colored cardstock. It folds just nicely in the right direction. But we're gonna go ahead and pop this on as our card layer, okay? So actually, before I put this on, I'm gonna show you really fast. This is really pretty on a basic white card background, kind of like the Holy Guacamole version here. But we're gonna go ahead and these colors are strong enough that they can hold their own even with this pattern. Now, if this was like a multicolored paper, it might be a little bit trickier, but I really think that these colors do a nice job of kind of holding their own here. So now let's look at our stamp set and take some pieces for this. I'm gonna zoom out a tiny bit because you guys are, let's see, there we go. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut ourselves, stamp and cut ourselves some elements to go with our card. I had to do the cool technique first, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about cutting on these because I'm gonna show you 2 different ways to cut them and I'll explain why we're using these 2 different ways. So first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp us a pretzel. I love this super cool stamp set. It's kind of like icon art, like little clip art pieces. and really, really trendy, really popular. And you can use it to mix and match a lot of these. You are super, you're so cool, super cool, whatever message you want to create. You can mix and match all these pieces. And then I have another strip here of the basic white cardstock, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp and ink these in Crushed Curry and Night of Navy. All right, so we have really nice, crisp images there. Now, what are we talking about when we're talking about cutting in different ways? Well, for these, my normal cutting is like this. So you guys have seen this before. I've talked a lot about fussy cutting with paper snips. First of all, paper snips are awesome because they are really sharp and really great for fine detailed work. You don't turn your scissors at all. You keep your scissors steady and you turn your paper with your free hand out here, okay? You guys see how I've done that? All right. So usually when I cut, I leave that white edge around the sides because that gives us a really crisp, sort of shadowy highlight. It's almost like adding an extra layer behind the image that makes it really pop. But when we have this kind of word art, these images I find are so much happier not to have an extra element around them. So these we're gonna cut right up there at the stamped line and try to eliminate, as I am not doing a great job, try to eliminate all the white around the edge. So a totally different technique. I almost never trim and cut this way, but this one is a really cool snip, as I cut out the word cool, a really cool alternate sort of the style-wise to how we usually do our cutting. So if you were making a whole bunch of these cards, you could kind of do all your stamping. For me, I do all my stamping and then I sit like in front of the TV or something and hang out with my family and cut all the pieces while I'm watching a show or something like that. So it's very zen. I used to hate fussy cutting. Any also fussy cut knot lovers out there? My friend, I had a stamping friend named Susan, and she cut everything. And I used to like marvel at her fabulousness with the technique. And then it took me a long time actually to really come to grips and really love fussy cutting as much as Susan clearly did. So, all right, I'm going to finish up this word here. The other thing I love about these colors is that the Delightfully Eclectic paper gives you lots of choices. It is not limited to just sort of this retro color scheme. There are lots of options in there. Okay, so now we have our super cool, and you can see how different they are to have been cut without that white layer around them. It really makes a difference, and I think having that white layer would sort of diminish their effect here on this particular font and so forth. So, all right, now we are going to put this on with dimensionals, but I am not going to put it on with dimensionals yet because I do not know where to put them. If I put a dimensional on the back here, it's going to show on the front and it's going to mess up my cool effect. So, Debbie says it's so relaxing. Yes, so fussy cutting is definitely something you have to come to love. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and decorate the front side of this first, and then we're gonna talk about the embellishment selection because it's a little different than what I usually do. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and pop this on here. Let's see, we're gonna put our pretzel up here at the top, and then we need our super cool here. If you are not a friend of fussy cutting, maybe try a couple of the technique tips that I shared. See what you think. I think I've given it as homework before, like come up with some fussy cutting to practice. But there's no homework in stamping. You do what you want, and it is perfectly okay. So, all right. So I'm going to take my super cool and my pretzel. Now, if I put this straight across here, I'm covering up a lot of the color strips. So I'm actually going to angle this. First of all, it has an extra super cool effect, but mostly I'm doing it because I want to not cover up a whole strip of any particular color so that I can sort of maintain that color relationship, I guess. So now on the back side, I'm going to take my dimensionals and pop these on where I know they will be hidden by our front side decoration. So a good reason to wait and put these on the back side here. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, they're not around to the edges, it doesn't matter. I promise it'll be okay. All right, and then I'm going to, you can do this a lot of ways. Here, I'll do it this way. You could do it square if you want. You could do it at the bottom. You could do it at the bottom, not square. I'm gonna go with sort of the top, center, third, no, I like the center, and at an angle. So obviously do what works best for you, but I really like this, super cool. And the feel of the angle is kind of jaunty to me. So, all right, now embellishments. So what is the idea for this? Of course we have rhinestones, which I think would go really well color-wise with this card. Okay, sorry, my poor dog has decided that it is too hot outside now, and so she would like to come in. So anyway, rhinestones are a great choice, but they kind of jazz things up in a blingy way. So I'm excited to look at some other possibilities. One of which are the neutrals adhesive back sequins. This is just a half a package because they're left over from a share I did. But this copper color is really cool with these colors, super cool even. But the sequins are a little bit blingy too. And so then I decided I would look at the rustic metallic adhesive back dots and the brushed adhesive dots, brushed metallic adhesive dots. And I love this copper color here with these elements. So I decided to grab the copper, and I like to group my bling, whether it's super blingy or, you know, a little bit more laid back like these. I like to group it so that it has sort of a maximum effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and do slide and stick here with my tool. And I'm gonna put one here on the top of super cool. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do two more. Let's see, got the smaller dots and then one more down here. Now, I'm going to show you some thoughts. The first time, oops, I'm picking up stray dots there. The first time I did this, I thought, you know what, I'm going to put this dot down here, but I felt like it really diluted the dots too much. I wanted them closer together. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out here, so that it is a little closer to this one. It gives them a little more bulk and it makes them a little bit more visible. So there's sort of an explanation on that right there. Now, super cute card. Thanks, guys. What to do with the inside of this card? Remember, I have this strip left over of our paper. I like the idea of just popping this in here for a really subtle idea. Now, if I was making this card for like my my card bin so that I have, you know, what I need when I need it, I would probably go ahead and leave this blank on the inside because super cool could go for lots of things. It could be happy birthday, it could be like a congrats card, it could be all kinds of different things. And then if I wanted to, I could add something here. So super cool, you are so cool, you're so sweet, hey there, love, all kinds of things. So that gives us a lot of flexibility for this card to figure out what we want to put on there. And then, of course, we are going to stamp an envelope to go with this. So I'm just going to grab my envelope and my card here, my pretzel, and just pop a little pretzel there on the front. So the pretzel image is so popular right now, iconic, and it goes along with all these other fab images from this stamp set. So if super cool, somebody just said, I saw super cool wasn't on their wish list. I really love this one. If you have teens or young adults or people like that in your life that you're sending cards to, this, I will tell you, is quite the cool stamp set. Now, the other ones that I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a list now for Thursday, because Thursday is when it is the annual stamp sale, so 15% off stamp sets from the annual catalog. Oops, that's the last year's one. Where is it? 23, 24. Here we go. So this book. And so this is a great time to get standalone stamp sets, like super cool, where there's not like a die set that you would buy with them or a punch or things like that. Because those you would, you know, get with your bundle discount usually. But here are some other ones to add to your list. I have super cool. Just My Type is another really fun stamp set, and it includes some hidden matches from the Delightfully Eclectic paper too. That typewriter paper is really cute with this. We have the It's a Science stamp set. You guys know that I am a sucker for a pun, And I'm a scientist by training, so this one just really cracks me up and is a great choice because it's standalone stamps. Also, supremely awesome, always good for a pen. You've got a piece of my heart. Together we make a deluxe combo. You're supremely awesome. You can, if you want to do birthday card, you're supremely awesome. Would be fun. Family or, you know, super close plan. You got a piece of my heart. Happy birthday to you. This is a really like all-purpose stamp set too. And then finally, if you guys know, my family is super musically inclined. I have a kid at jazz camp this week and a music major in my family. So we are really happy to have music. And I love the stamp set with the realistic piano keyboard, which is correctly, like there's the right number of keys in it. This is good. We have a guitar. We have, with a little bit of weirdness because there's like 6 pegs, but only 3 strings. But anyway, it's still pretty cool. We have some music and then a drum set and so forth. So really fun set for people who either love music, make music, all kinds of things. So all good choices for Thursday to check for your standalone stamps. And of course, like things that used to be bundled but aren't any longer. Oh, sorry for that noise. Things like Swedish Cherries is a great one for this time of year, a great summertime stamp set. And you can get that one and then get the punch separately. So anyway, I thought that those would be some fun ideas to share with you for some of those things that you might look at. So that Thursday annual stamp sale will start at like 12:01 Mountain Time. So depending on your time, that would be a good time. Hey, Jenny. To jump on. And then my other note to you is if you have stamp sets, just know that they probably won't come immediately. Stampin' Up! Has had some really, really huge ordering days lately, which is great. But in order to get all those things out, it takes a little extra time. So shipping's run a little bit further behind right now than usual. It might take a little longer to get your order than you expect. It will come, not to worry. So anyway, if you're desperate for a stamp set that must come right away, you could consider expedited shipping. And there are a couple different choices for that. If you need your stamp set to come right away, make sure you pick either the top or the second top expedited shipping option because they also, the overnight shipping and the 2-day shipping come with expedited picking, which means that those orders get picked first so that they can come out when you really need them. And they are premium service, so they cost extra. I only use them if I absolutely need something. But just be aware, I don't want anyone to be so sad. I know I'm sad when my stamps don't come right away, but it'll take a little extra time. But that is not a reason to not use the sale because, I mean, your stamps are going to be yours for a long time. Maria said the sale is Wednesday, tomorrow. Yes, you are right, Maria. It is the 19th, which is tomorrow. So, yes, that is so funny. Okay, yeah, you're right. It is the 19th tomorrow. So let me just double check on July 19th. Yes. Oh my gosh, Maria, you are my hero. Thank you so much for that. And I will go through and I will fix the text and stuff that has the note here. So if you've been watching this whole time and heard me say Thursday, it is not. It is Wednesday. Thank you, Maria. So, see, I was just checking to see if you guys are listening, right? No, totally. So good thing we showed this card today. Think about some of those other fun standalone stamp sets. And with that, I will let you guys go. The link is in the video description for the supplies we used today for our super cool pretzel card. And I hope you guys will try this floating strip technique. It is a really cool effect and it comes out with some just really cool results there. So anyway, have a great day and thanks for visiting with me this morning. And I will see you guys on Thursday for another Maker Mornings with Meg. So happy stamping.